Human memory doesn't work the way we think it does. It isn't a file where we store what happened, but a workshop where we reconstruct what we believe happened. Every time we remember, we don't reproduce an event, we recreate it. We color it with our wounds, our beliefs, our fears, and our emotional history. And when two people in a relationship argue from recreated memories, not from facts, what they truly confront are not versions of the past, but versions of themselves. That's why many times we don't fight over what happened, but over what we felt happened. They came to therapy with a tension you could almost touch in the air. She said, "You always react like this, you know it happened that way." He replied, "No, that's not what happened, you're changing everything." Neither was lying, neither was manipulating, neither was inventing anything. Each one was remembering from their own mind, their own filter, their own history. She remembered from the fear of not being heard. He remembered from the fear of being blamed. And in the middle of that battle of versions, the bond was wearing down. As we went deeper, we discovered something essential. They weren't arguing about the event, but about the interpretation of the event. She recreated the scene from an old wound where she didn't feel valued. He recreated it from a story where he always had to defend himself. Their memories were shaped by emotions, not accuracy. And when memory becomes a weapon, the relationship turns into a battlefield where each one fights to impose their version in order to protect themselves from pain. In therapy, we see this constantly. Couples who don't argue about what happened, but about what their mind reconstructed. And that reconstruction is influenced by personality, context, wounds, expectations, and fears. When the mind recreates, it also justifies. When it recreates, it also protects. When it recreates, it also distorts. And this is where the need to be right appears. The need to impose one's own view, to exercise power over the other. Not because they want to dominate, but because they want to validate their own version so they don't feel their identity falling apart. Conflict arises when one person needs their memory to be the true one to feel safe, and the other needs their interpretation to be acknowledged to feel seen. When the discussion stops being about the bond and becomes a fight for the truth. When the need to protect one's identity takes the place of connection. And this is where the real therapeutic work begins. Understanding that both can be right from their own subjectivity. That memory is not objective. That the past is not a fact, but an emotional experience. That a couple doesn't need a single truth, but a shared understanding. Transformation happens when both understand that it's not about winning, but about understanding. That it's not about imposing, but about listening. That it's not about who remembers better, but about how that memory affects the bond. When he stops defending his version as if it were a shield. When she stops demanding accuracy as if it were proof of love. When together they discover that a relationship doesn't grow through certainty, but through empathy. That the bond strengthens when we stop fighting over the past and start building the present. In my book, The Relationship, the Third Element, I explain how to heal that space, how to rebuild emotional connection, and how to feel once again that both are walking in the same direction. If this message resonated with you, my book is available for you. You'll find the link in the description, and you can also get it on Amazon and Hotmart.
Click the link and access the library of therapeutic books.